I'm thrilled to be here. I almost didn't come. I wasn't feeling very well yesterday. And so I was standing in the kitchen thinking, oh, I'm going to go. I'm not going to go. And so I asked my inner being to give me my answer. I flipped a coin and twice it told me to come. And so I'm thrilled to be here. And what I'm going to ask you has certainly been answered. But
then get out. I want to go back to this coin flipping stuff. So do you think that the coin responded to what you really wanted to do?
I did.
And so why did you need the coin to tell you what you really wanted to do?
Because I was feeling resistance. And so I just feel like...
So are you saying that the coin could overcome your resistance? That the coin was able to...
Good question. I think what happens...
We know it's a good question.
Yeah. I think what happens is the minute I turn it over to the coin, I let go of the resistance.
We think so.
And then it gives me the right answer. Okay, I got that.
So do you trust that coin on everything or just things that don't matter very much?
Oh, no, I've used it a lot. Yeah, on big things.
And you use the coin because?
Because, again, I'm not sure. I'm feeling resistance.
So to use the coin... You have to get pretty clear about what you're asking, don't you? Because you have to state it in a cut and dried fashion. In other words, either yes or no, go or stay. So do you think that there's something about the process of reducing it down to that causes you to focus upon it enough that you get clear that then coin or no coin, then you have your answer?
Exactly.
We think so too.
This wasn't even my question. But I like that. Yeah, my daughter just asked me what...
Well, get ready because we're not going to answer any of your questions. We're just going to give you a coin.
Yeah, but this is not a coin tossing question.
Well, then, if you're saying it's not a coin tossing question, then what you're saying is it's not a question that I've clearly formulated. It's not a question that I'm yet ready to receive an answer. What we're saying to you is if you can reduce the question to something that can be answered in that way, then you understand the path of least resistance so well. In other words, that's all that happened to you. By the time you reduced that question about whether to go or whether not to go, it became clear to you what was the path of least resistance. And every question has an answer just like that if you're willing to spend enough time in the question to get it there, you see. Good, now get out. She's not going, can you?
Okay, I'd like to ramble just a moment.
We're happy to help you clarify.
Good, thank you.
As long as you don't expect us to give you your answer.
Okay. So I believe, and I feel like I move through my days with little or no resistance most of the time.
Yes.
And my life is going really well.
Yes.
And
These are good. These are really good statements because these are all statements that reduce resistance. So even as you're speaking.
Yes, and I feel when I come to your workshops, and I've had this crick in my neck, which I'm clear about. It's completely gone when I'm in this room.
Yes.
With you. And
another statement, which is about releasing resistance. Yes.
Okay. So, getting ready to regurgitate.
But why would you do that? Why would you make a statement that's less resistant and a statement that's less resistant and a statement that's less resistant, all getting ready to lay a real big resistant one on us? Why would you go there?
Because you said you'd help clarify.
Well, we lied. Life clarifies, but what we're asking you is, why in this moment? Why when you're on a path of least resistance? Why not just stay on a path of least resistance? In other words, if you think about the use of your life right now, why is there any issue that you want to introduce to this moment? Are you saying to us that there are issues that are more important than your life so that you want to sacrifice your life in order to discuss those issues? That's sort of like saying, chalk me off from oxygen so that my daughter can breathe.
Can I continue? I do a little choking. Okay. So I really feel that I can manage well.
Good.
In most areas of my
life. Good. Path of least resistance.
Yeah. And I've devoted and focused the last 10 years as a single mom, which I have really loved. My children are doing so well and they're happy and carefree and
it's getting a little more. It's getting a little more resistance. We can feel you're waiting for the boom to drop here, but you're still pretty much in a path of least resistance.
Okay. So in the last year or so.
So stop for a moment and mentally toss the coin. In other words, so here you are. Do you really want to go there?
Yes.
Really? Why?
Well, because I wanted to do this personally with you, even though I can get clarification about it around the issue.
But you see, you're missing the whole point of what we've been talking about all day here today. In other words, what value is there for anyone for you to activate a thought that is unpleasant and discuss it? Where's the value? In other words, it certainly isn't good use of your moment. And we think sometimes that what happens is you say, well, let me take this thing that always bothers me when I talk about it, and maybe when I talk about it with Abraham, it won't bother me so much. And we say, usually it bothers you more when you get in an energy stream of well-being and then you talk about something that's not up to speed with it. It's sort of like a big sore thumb. And the point that we're wanting to make with you and with everybody else is that's not how you fix things. You don't make things better by amplifying. You look for the path of least resistance, not the path of more resistance. You're helping us make this point in a very powerful way. So can we have this conversation with you continuing to reach for less resistance, less resistance, less resistance? Can we go there without you just throwing that all aside and saying, Abraham, you're tough, and so is the group that's here, and so is who everybody. In other words, maybe this will be good for us all to talk about this thing that is unpleasant. Yesterday, Jerry read an article in the Reader's Digest. He read something and was discussing it with Esther, and he said, it seems that most everything in there is about somebody getting their life in some terrible place and then overcoming it. And so much so that people almost deliberately get their lives in terrible places so that they can overcome it. And we say, why not just start where you are and start making it better right here? Why do we have to dip into that in order to come out of that? It's sort of the old thing, when you hit yourself over the head with a hammer, it feels good when you stop. But we don't recommend that you hit yourself over the head with the hammer so that it can feel good when you stop, because it wasn't hurting before you started. Yes. So let's try to have this conversation without dipping into resistance. Well, which brings up another thing. Do we have to talk about this? In other words, if all we're looking for is a moment of non-resistance, then why take a resistant issue and try to make it non-resistance? Why don't we talk about things that are life-giving instead? Why do we need to talk about that? Why did you come all this way? Why is it important to you to talk about that resistant thing?
Because for some reason, I feel stuck in this.
Well, don't talk about it. Don't talk about it, and you'll never be stuck in it again. You're only stuck in it when you talk in it. That's like saying, I drive off the road into the dirt and I'm stuck. And we say, well, don't do that. Don't drive off into the road and get stuck. And you say, well, I need to do it because I need to learn how to drive into this muck and not get stuck. We say, you can't drive in the muck and not get stuck. If you drive in the muck, you're going to get stuck. Sounds like a rap. If you're going to drive into the muck, you're going to get stuck. So just don't drive there. And why do you feel obligated to go there? That's what we're wanting you to tell us.
And that's where I need clarification. Why?
All right. What is the subject?
The subject is a relationship. I've been single for so long that my awareness of it is so big now that now I'm ready, and I've been ready, but I keep manifesting aloneness because I'm so aware that it just is constantly coming up for me.
Because you're stuck. In other words, you go to that subject, you activate it where it is, you hold it active where it is, and so you keep being where it is, where if you would not activate that subject, the stuckness would go away because the activation of the vibration of aloneness would go away.
Okay, I got that. Okay.
Well, that was easy.
Okay, I have another question. Last night when I was asleep, I woke up and the people in the next room were reminding me of my aloneness in their boisterous way. And I thought, okay, and I did make light of it. I mean, it was humorous for me, but it still was irritating at the same time a little. And so I just decided to focus on going back to sleep and focusing on, I would really love to have some connected dreams, powerful connected dreams. And it felt like the minute I closed my eyes that, and I did think this while it was happening, I couldn't move. I was trying to scream, and because some kind of electrical charge filled the room, and it was frightening. It was really, but for some reason I thought, you asked.
You ask, and in your tension of resistance, it translated out to feel like that. When something happens in your experience and causes you to ask in a very pointed way for energy to flow, and you're in an open and compliant, allowing state, as the energy flows, you soar in it, you swoon in it, you float in it, you have clear thoughts in it. It is a euphoric feeling. But when you summon energy to try to fix something that feels broken, but your summoning is more powerful than the resistance that would keep it away, sometimes it feels almost like someone is holding you in place. Yeah.
Yes.
So what that was the experience of the summoning and the receiving of powerful energy in a somewhat resistant state.
Gotcha.
Then what happened with your dreams?
And then I woke up and I was questioning. I started thinking aliens and people coming in and connecting, which has happened to me before. But so then I thought, no, that's you asked. So I went right back to sleep, and then I got into this really wonderful. It was very bizarre and multi-complex, but I was soaring and flying with all these little alien type source people or something, and they were taking me to all these wonderful places, and I really could feel they're assisting me in releasing of my resistance, because I would soar up, and then my apparatus that I seemed to be sitting on would get a little shaky, and then I'd start to swoop down, and I really recognized in the dream that this is about, taking charge, Ellen, and if you want to soar, go up there. And then it went into some other funky stuff, and then I suddenly woke up. I thought, oh, that was fun, and then my second thought was, but here I really am in this quiet room all alone.
So what happened was, as you came back into consciousness, you perfectly translated both aspects of your being. You translated the power of your desire and your ability to receive it, and then you translated instantly the very resistance that is keeping you from soaring.
Yes.
It sort of started out that way, and it happened that way, and then you assessed it accurately that way. And it's wonderful. There are a number of things that we want to give you about this. First, we want to say to you that you are in the process of a wonderful vibrational opening. In other words, you don't reverberate like that and have those conscious awarenesses. As we heard your words articulating your experience, your verbal description of what was happening to you was identical to what we felt vibrationally was happening to you, which means you are having a vibrational opening, which is a very good thing. And it is because of the power of your wanting. In other words, you've been clearly defining, you've been working on some things, you've been asking with great clarity. In other words, you've got some strong momentum going, and by opening we mean full alignment connection to the you that is you. In other words, this is all really a wonderful thing. And at the same time that that is happening, your pockets of resistance are becoming more noticeable to you. And so it's the same old story that you hear us tell, that when your car is going 500 miles an hour, you notice the trees more than if your car is going 5 miles an hour. And so just relax and talk to yourself in that way. Talk about how the resistance is dissipating and how this is all a good sign. And for heaven's sake, stop beating the drum of aloneness. In other words, you're having these wonderful experiences where you're soaring with angels, where all that is source is enveloping you and joining you. In other words, you could not be less alone. You are so fulfilled and a part of all of this energy, but then you choose to say, because my life is not manifesting in this one way, then I choose to hold myself apart from all of that. And we say, just leave it alone for a little while. There are a number of things that are happening to you. Your vibration is shifting so rapidly that anyone that you would attract into your experience would either have to be someone on the identical wavelength who is shifting as rapidly as you are, or they would be someone that you would quickly leave behind. And so what you're wanting to do is let this phase of your life happen. In other words, let yourself achieve this vibrational opening. Let yourself get stable in this place, and then attract someone who has already achieved that too. Trust law of attraction. Law of attraction always knows what to do. And stop trying so hard to control your experience. That feeling that you want to control experience, what is at the heart of that is a lack of understanding of law of attraction, which does control all things. In other words, you don't have to control, nor can you, anything other than your own vibration. And when you gain control of your own vibration, then you've got control of your world, you see. And gaining control of your vibration is about feeling good now, feeling good now, feeling good now, feeling good now, feeling good now. Control feels like, well, I'll take that entity, meaning any aspect. I'll take my daughter, or I'll take my parents, or I'll take these people, or I'll take my government. I'll take all of my neighbors, I'll take my dogs, I'll take all of these aspects of my life, and I will teach them the way I need them to behave so that I can feel good.